All right, let's dive into an absolutely incredible story of strategy, of survival against all odds. And it all centers on one legendary fortress, Raigad, and its ultimate trial by fire.
It's a huge question, right? But it really gets to the core of what we're talking about today. We're not just talking about stone walls and defenses. We're talking about what a place can represent and just how much it can endure. So to really get this, we have to go back to a single year, 1689. And trust me, for the Maratha Swarajya, their self-governing kingdom, this was a year of absolute crisis. A dark shadow had fallen over everything after the tragic loss of their king, Chhatrapati Maharaj. The whole kingdom was hanging by a thread. And look, this wasn't some distant problem brewing on the frontier. No, the Mughal army was now at the very heart of the Maratha Empire. They were laying siege to the capital itself, the magnificent Raigad Fort. This was, without a doubt, an existential threat. So you see, the stakes couldn't have been higher. This whole battle, it wasn't just for a military post. It was a fight for the survival of an idea, of a people, and the entire future of Swarajya. Literally everything was on the line.
Now, the man leading this charge against Raigad was the Mughal commander, Zulfikar Khan. And he didn't just show up to fight. He arrived with a chilling vow to turn that mighty fortress completely to ash.
And just look at the odds here. It's almost unbelievable. On one side, you've got thousands of Mughal soldiers, this massive, well-supplied army. And on the other, a small band of Maratha defenders, totally cut off from the world, with pretty much only their courage to keep them going.
And as the siege just dragged on, you can imagine how desperate things got inside Raigad. We're talking months passing, food was disappearing, water was running out, and maybe worst of all, they were completely cut off. All contact with the outside world was gone. That noose was just getting tighter and tighter.
So, with defeat looking more and more certain, a decision was made, and it changed everything. The fight wasn't about saving the fort anymore. No, the mission had changed. It was now about saving the future of the kingdom by saving its new king.
The plan itself was, wow, it was audacious, almost impossible. They had to get the new king, Chhatrapati Rajaram Maharaj, out of this besieged fort. That meant somehow slipping past thousands of enemy soldiers and then navigating these treacherous cliffs in the Sahyadris, all of it in total darkness.
You have to understand the sheer weight of this moment. This was it. This was the night of destiny, where everything, and I mean everything, hung in the balance. One single misstep, one stray sound, one footprint discovered, and the flame of Swarajya could have been snuffed out for good. And what happens next is where you see the true genius of the Maratha strategy. You know, on the surface, it looks like a total defeat. But in reality, it was an absolute masterstroke of strategic sacrifice.
Because in the end, the Marathas did the unthinkable. They allowed the mighty Raigad, their capital, their pride and joy, to fall into enemy hands. They lost the fort, because by sacrificing the stone, they saved the crown. While Zulfikar Khan's entire army was laser-focused on capturing a fortress, Chhatrapati Rajaram Maharaj slipped away. He was free to carry on the fight.
Think about it. The Mughals thought they'd won. They celebrated capturing this massive physical structure, but it was a hollow victory. They had completely failed to seize the real prize, that spirit of resistance, the Agh, the fire of Swarajya. It had already escaped.
So what's the real legacy of this incredible event? Well, it's not something you just find in history books. It's really etched into the very idea of resilience. There's something really poetic about this. They say if you stand on those ramparts today, you can almost feel the echoes of that defiance. The story doesn't live on as some cry of defeat, but as a roar of courage that has just carried on through the centuries. And that's really the ultimate lesson here, isn't it? The lesson from Raigad's trial by fire. A fortress, no matter how strong it is, can fall. But the courage of people defending an idea, a belief, a home, well, that's something that can never, ever be conquered.